happened in that courtroom with the bailiff passing notes to or the bailiff texting the prosecutor about what was going on in the jury room, and the two of them passing notes to each other. So we had a big old hearing on that tonight. Everybody was just really concerned about getting out of the courtroom without being put in jail, which is exactly where we want everybody to be. And so and I have to commend, it took a lot of courage for the defense's last witness to get on the witness stand, Judge Jay Carahan. I shot a subpoena over to Court 8 because I knew that Judge Carahan had known my client, and Judge Carahan had the courage to testify as a witness in a DWI case. And that took a lot of courage on his part. Understand the only reason I subpoenaed him is because he was a witness, period. And I don't care if you're a judge or a prosecutor, whoever you are, I'm going to subpoena you if you have something that I need to introduce in my case. And Judge Carahan got on the witness stand, and Judge Carahan had testified. I've known your client since she was born. I've seen thousands of DWI cases. I've watched thousands of videos in these cases. I've watched this video in this case. Your client I didn't hear any slurred speech. I didn't see her swaying, contradicting the police officer, and furthermore, she looked intoxicated to me. And furthermore, Judge, would you agree with me that a jury has the right to disbelieve a .17 blood test? Well, sure they do. Pass the witness. Pass the witness. And so that case resulted in acquittal, a very challenging case, and good war stories, unfortunate ethics, and at the very least, inappropriate conduct, whether it rises to the level of misconduct, we shall see. Now, this is when I think about juries, okay, and I think about when I'm selecting a jury. It's like, how should it be, and what kind of jury should we have? I use this example. I hadn't used this video, but this is kind of how I think about it. And this is what this is the original 12 Angry Men movie. A great movie if you haven't watched it, with Henry Fonda. And this is what being a jury's about.
I don't understand you people. I mean, all these picky little points you keep bringing up, they don't mean nothing. You saw this kid just like I did. You're not going to tell me you believe that phony story about losing the knife and that business about being at the movies? Look, you know how these people lie? It's born in them. I mean, what the heck? I don't have to tell you. They don't know what the truth is. And let me tell you, they don't need any real big reason to kill someone either. No, sir. They get drunk. Oh, they're real big drinkers, all of them. You know that. And bang, someone's lying in the gutter. Well, nobody's blaming them for it. That's the way they are, by nature. You know what I mean? Violent. Where are you going? Human life don't mean as much to them as it does to us. Look, they're rushing up and fighting all the time. And if somebody gets killed, so somebody gets killed, they don't care. Oh, sure, there's some good things about them, too. Look, I'm the first one to say that. I've known a couple who were okay, but that's the exception, you know what I mean? Most of them, it's like they have no feelings. They can do anything. What's going on here? I'm trying to tell you. You're making a big mistake, you people. This kid is a liar. I know it. I know all about them. Listen to me. They're no good. There's not one of them who's any good. I mean, what's happening in here? I'm speaking like pigs and you... Listen to me. We're this kid on trial here, he's typhoid. Well, don't you know about them? There's a danger here. These people are dangerous. They're wild. Listen to me. Listen to me. I have. Now sit down and don't open your mouth again. Tell you.
It's always difficult to keep personal prejudice out of a thing like this. Wherever you run into it, prejudice always obscures the truth. I don't really know what the truth is. I don't suppose anybody will ever really 9 of us now seem to feel that the defendant is innocent. But we're just gambling on probabilities. We may be wrong. We may be trying to let a guilty man go free. I don't know. Nobody really can. But we have a reasonable doubt. And that's something that's very valuable in our system. No jury can declare a man guilty unless it's sure.
That, that's me, and I really, what I strive for when I'm picking a jury is that jury, is Henry Fonda. Is because, he, in that statement, he hits the nail on the head. Because we were in that room, we were picking a jury, or when the jury's deliberating a case, and, this was an Italian kid. Back during this time period, it's like they were treated as second-class citizens, and they were laughed at. You know how these people are, and it's prejudice, and it's bias, and it takes Henry Fonda to chime in. You know what? He may have done it, okay? It could have happened. It may have happened. But if you're not convinced beyond a reasonable doubt, not just up to a reasonable doubt, past that point, it is your duty to acquit. And so I always, especially if I have an older panel, and I ask them, hey, have you seen this movie, 12 Angry Men? And then a couple of jurors raise their hand, and all said, let's talk about that. Do you think that, like Henry Fonda, do you think it's your job to scrutinize the state's evidence, or is it your job to automatically believe it? And the people that watch the movie will say, yeah, who doesn't love that? It's Henry Fonda, boy. It's like, that's who we want to be. And that is that's their job as a juror. Boy, when people have seen the movie, it really hits home to them. And so it's like when they sit there in the jury box and they're listening to the facts, it isn't whether or not he did it or he didn't. Did they prove it to me? And that's what it comes down to. I have a few slides I want to talk to you about with respect to Fort Dyer. This year, there's a lawyer up in Waco, and his name is Seth Sutton. And he is, I watched his presentation in January before I started trying cases this year, and he had a Fort Dyer presentation that just really was great. It's not a lot of slides, it's a few slides, and I've been using it this year, and it's just really good stuff. Okay. But it's, the things that I communicate, when I start out talking to a jury, I always start out talking just a little bit about myself, because they had to fill out the jury questionnaires, and I find that when I do that, I can see jurors open up to me, and they can see that, hey, my name is Judd Silverman, and I'm from Houston, Texas, and I've been doing this for 16 years, and before I did this, I was a merchant seaman. I used to work on ships, and I'll tell you something else about myself. I'm scared. I am very scared. And at the moment that, and I've attended one of the little workshops for trial lawyers, college, and it's very interesting when you communicate that to a jury, and you become a real person. And even when I did that short workshop, it's like when we come into contact with a person, whether it's a juror, whether it's somebody on the street, whether it's anybody, we have a way of looking at them and perceiving them. And then when the person starts to share what they're about and what they're doing, they start to look different, like physically. They start to look different because I believe that your heart opens up to them a little bit, and they become, not this uptight guy or this short person, tall person, fat, thin, whatever it is. It's like they become a person, and I see jurors open up to you when they do that. And then the principles that I will talk to them about are the core constitutional principles that you have to talk about with the jury. I think that it's very important that you talk about the credibility of police officers. That's a very core principle that the judge will always let you question them on. And to me, it isn't so much what a jury says, but it's how they say it. Because I may go down the line with credibility of police officers and have a jury tell me that, we're not going to start a police officer a step ahead in the credibility department. However, even if you have that juror who says that, well, maybe I would, it's very hard for that juror to have the courage in the face of the judge telling him, are you saying you can't follow the law? No, I can follow the law. But the gold gold nuggets that you get out of that question are that, well, you know, my dad was a lieutenant in the sheriff's department, and, you know, that my brother was a police officer, and so I'd like to believe that they're going to tell the truth. But yeah, I'm not going to start about a step ahead, and it's just like, it's like you've gotten out of it. It isn't what the person said, but it's with how they said it to you. They didn't say something that's going to rise to a challenge for cause, but it's still going to keep them off, and you will take them off your jury. Won't put them on there. The other one, of course, that you have to do, the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution. Very important. Even if your client is not going to testify, and you have no plan of putting your client on the witness stand, the Fifth Amendment question is a great litmus test question. And I like to do the Fifth Amendment in the form of a scale question. Be 0, I'm not going to consider it at all. 5, I'm going to consider it as a whole lot of evidence of guilt. And I'll go down the line and do that question. Do that question. If they answer anything other than a 0, that's a person that's challengeable for cause, because you can't consider it for any purpose whatsoever. So I like to use a scale question with respect to that clue. And this is something that I like to try new things, okay, when I'm trying cases. I really do, because it makes me a better lawyer. You know, it's kind of like when you're, you know, walking out on the plank and you don't know really what's going to happen. It's like a lot of times it works out for you. In this last case that I had, very challenging case, you know, not for the police officer that says we're intoxicated and a test that says we're intoxicated. And so I just went down the line and asked the juror, you know, sir, how are you doing this morning? Good. I was like, you come to my office and I'm going to be your lawyer, and you know you weren't intoxicated in this DWI case, and then a police officer says you were intoxicated. It's like, you going to plead guilty? No. Okay. Well, let me add a fact to it. They got a test, hypothetically speaking, trying to avoid the commitment question. It's like, hypothetically speaking, there's some kind of test, breath test, blood test, urine test. It says you're intoxicated. You know you weren't intoxicated. It's like, are you going to plead guilty? The juror's like, no. I was like, you're sitting in my office. You are wasting my time, okay? I've got innocent people that I need to represent, okay? Cop says you're intoxicated. There's some test out there that says you're intoxicated. Would you please just plead guilty so we all can get out of here? Well, I'm not going to do it. Mrs. Johnson, okay, your fellow juror over here is going to waste the rest of our time. And it's like they got all this evidence that says he's intoxicated. He knows he wasn't intoxicated. Does he need to plead guilty? Well, no, not if he knew he didn't do it. Boy, you're another one. You're wasting my time too. And then what you end up with, it's like, I can tell you out of my whole panel in that last trial, out of 24 people, I only had one person who was just like, well, if the test says you are, you are. And so that was a very effective thing. I really enjoyed using that tool. I was hoping to get to our slides, but we're having an issue with that. But really, the slides cover just the Fifth Amendment and credibility of police officers. And that is really about everything that I have. I'm trying to share. You know, getting an acquittal is a huge. It's everything. I mean, it's why I wake up every day. I mean, there's no two more beautiful words in my mind than not guilty. You know, I can love all these things in my life, people I can love, and I consider myself to have a very balanced life. I'm blessed in that regard. But if I told you it didn't bother me if I don't get not guilty verdicts, I would be lying to all of you. Because I love to get not guilty verdicts. Number one, I love to get not guilty verdicts for that person sitting in that chair because of the tremendous responsibility they put. But it signifies to me that the Constitution is alive and well here in Houston, Texas. And that's why I do what I do. Thank you.
Any questions?
Yes, sir.
Any questions? Questions over